David, I've had a brilliant time in this car this week. It is absolutely sensational. It is akin to the Audi Allroad that I had a little while ago. What is it, David?
It's a station wagon. It is the 2021 Volkswagen Passat
Alltrack. The thing that I like about Passat, David, is it makes you feel like a king. It's much bigger than it actually seems. They say it's a medium-sized car or a mid-sized car, but this is a full family-sized car in my view.
I quite like it. It's got some detail, but it's not over the top, and it just has a bit of character to it. All the controls, well, most of the controls are...
That's the radar dome for the smart cruise control.
Right, and up the top, Ellen?
The camera for the AEB and the lane control. Down below that, of course, is my dash cam. These are LED and they've got dusk sensing and the auto high beam and so forth, but these aren't the matrix ones that are in the top model. There's two models, David. There's this one and the premium.
Ooh.
Premium. And David, how much is it?
$46,990, $47,000 plus on roads.
Let's move along the side. And the good thing about this, David, is that it does have smart unlocking, but it's got it on all four doors and the back door. We've got 18-inch tyres, which I think look rather lovely, and
45 profile.
And they're really quite deeply dished. These really are pretty mags. I like them a lot. Well, 245 is one very wide tyre for a normal old road-going car that has off-roading aspirations. Let's have a look at the back. While we're on the back, you can see that it's got a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty.
Now, of course, to open the rear boot, you just press this, but if you notice, underneath is the camera. Now, that comes up when you put it in reverse.
But only reveals itself when the Magic R is selected. This is enormous. How much boot space have we got in here, David?
650 litres.
Expanding to?
1,700 and a bit.
That's extraordinary. Now have a look under here. Look at this, a full-size spare. We've also got in the back some bag ties, or bag holders, and each side has one of these handles that you can lower the back seat.
Okay, I made the mistake of trying to lift. That's no good. You've got to push it down.
Push it down, but just push and release.
And then let it go.
Yep, and then it goes halfway across, another push and release, and it goes all the way through. Little bin over here for odds and ends. Another little bin over this side for odds and ends.
Not very deep.
Not very deep, but look, there's a 12-volt power outlet here too. Have a look just how wide that door is. I mean, it's extraordinary. Show me how far it opens up. It's just a really nice, wide opening door. Feel free to entrez-vous. Now that seat I've got a long way back. You've got tons of leg room in there, David. That's an absolute mountain. Plenty of room underneath for your feet.
Not an electrical seat, that helps.
That's true, but this doesn't have a sunroof, so how's your head?
Good, well, I'm 2 or 3 inches.
Bunch. And down on the centre console, David, you've got a couple of vents and look, some controls. You've got another zone for the back.
For temperature, yeah, lovely.
Oh. You made a bit of a hash of that.
You've got the seat up a bit?
I do, but I like to sit up nice and tall.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing that we'll notice is that you do have a part electric seat.
Oh.
For some strange reason, the backrest and the lumbar support are electric, but everything else is manual. One thing I do like are some physical switches, unlike the Golf we had last week, some physical switches for lights, some very smart, I think, genuine fake artificial plastic trim that's trying its best to look like some kind of carbon fibre. The dash, I think, is a little bit disappointing. It's just conventional instruments.
Yeah, not a lot there, very small little screen in between.
And of course the steering wheel has the conventional Volkswagen buttons. It hasn't as yet gone to the touch buttons that are in the Golf. The thing I like about the centre console is that it is adjustable. You lift it right up and you open it up and there's a USB-C there. But if you lift it up just a fraction, you can adjust it so that you can get a proper driving height.
Yeah.
In front of that is a 12-volt outlet, auto hold, electric brake, couple of cup holders, and up here we've got the driving modes, stop, start, off, another USB-C, and on the other side the automated parking, and the park distance control, so the little sensor things that go annoyingly beep. And of course, we've got a 7-speed DSG. And this is the bit that I'm really excited about in this car, David. The air conditioning controls are backlit. Unlike the Golf last week where they're not. They are still touch and slide, but everything on there you can get at nice and easily. And this has got the slightly smaller screen. The next model up has the bigger screen. And just in case you've forgotten, you're in a Passat, it's marked on the dash. This car has wireless Apple CarPlay. Wireless Apple CarPlay, mind you, David. And if you use the wireless Apple CarPlay, you can have your maps up on the screen, but only if you're using Apple Maps. It'll show up on the center screen. We've come straight to the twisty bits, which I quite like. There'll be a bit of highway stuff in a minute. I've put the drive modes into sport. There is an off-road mode, which I haven't tried yet. Love this car though, I do. I can't imagine it going too far off-road. I'm under the speed limit, and this is certainly handling this very twisty road very well. It's extremely comfortable, and despite the fact that there's only around 160 kilowatts, it seems to be handling this extremely well. 7-speed DSG is doing its thing. I've just left it in automatic. I'm not touching the gears at all. Goes into corners, feels very tight, but still very soft. Tiny bit of body roll. Opposite corner. No, this is lovely. Very sharp corner. This feels bigger and more substantial, but still extremely light. The steering, even in sports mode, it's incredibly light. There's not a lot of road feel simulated or otherwise, but the bumps, even though the suspension is fairly taut, is still extremely comfortable, soaks up all of those bumps. This all-wheel drive system is just sensational. Of course, there are only really two types of all-wheel drive systems, and this particular one is mated to a 7-speed DCT. There's also another one that Volkswagen use, and that's the one that they mate to an 8-speed automatic. Frankly, I'd rather the 8-speed automatic, but these changes are absolutely beautiful. But they market them both as 4Motion. My usual speed up onto the highway. I've still got it in sport mode. And we're at the speed limit, 110 kilometers an hour. Volkswagen haven't published the 0 to 100 time. They say that it's to come. I suspect it's because they don't want you to know that it's almost as good as the GTI. Now that we're on the main road and we're on the highway, I'm going to activate my IQ Drive, and it uses the smart cruise control and the smart lane control to autonomously drive your car. So if I just press this now, it is now set. It tells me that the system is active, and essentially it's steering itself. If you take your hands off the steering wheel though, it does get reasonably cranky. Now I'm just touching the steering wheel very lightly. We're going up a gentle right-hand turn, and you can see the steering wheel is keeping us in track. It's not kosher to take your hands off the wheel, so I'm not going to. Of course, in this mode, it won't overtake on the inside because it obeys the road rules. And you can see now that it's steering around this corner. Still only got my hands resting on it. I'm not doing any steering. It's just here to grab it if need be. Wind noise, pretty minimal. I can hear a little bit of hushing somewhere or other that's outside somewhere. And the cabin noise is more than acceptable. I've just pulled out the drawer under my seat, the little thigh support thing, a little handle at the front. Pull it out, gives me a bit more thigh support. And one thing I really like Skoda, Audi, and the other Volkswagen Group brands, this Passat is very thoughtful. There's a big gap here where the sun comes in. No matter, I'll just shift this across. This Volkswagen Passat Alltrack, it will go almost anywhere. It's incredibly spacious, incredibly comfortable, loaded with technology, and I think at $46,900, a real bargain.
And it's not a big SUV, yet it carries a lot of space.
I think it's just absolutely sensational.
I love station wagons.
Me too, I'm a station wagon fan, and in fact I'd prefer it over an SUV. But you know what, David, it's that time again.
Okay.
If you've liked the film, hit like.
Make a comment.
But above all, we want them to,
Sorry, I meant
just here, to subscribe.